Hi everybody, how's it going? My name's The Show from Old School RuneScape, and if you've never seen me or met me before, welcome to the channel. This is actually my first upload ever since I started in RuneScape Beta, under my old name Big Knockers, and this is an opportunity to look at what's going on with the community, what's happening with the mods, the Jagex CEO, and possibly shedding a light into why these circumstances happen, where are the pitfalls, and where are things that actually make sense from a perspective of someone that loves RuneScape. But at the same time, my background is actually a marketing advertising owner, and my corporation, similar to the corporation that Jagex is, some of the things that happen do make sense, but the way that these were approached in the sense of community and PR, this is kind of what you just call an overall, it's a fire show. So let's go over this a little bit and look at the membership survey, the update from ModPip, the Jagex CEO, and first and foremost, like everybody's saying across the board, please don't go after JMods. It is not their fault. This stuff trickles downhill. This starts directly with the Jagex CEO, but beyond that, this also goes to Carlyle Group. This is from the investors and the actual group themselves trying to look after their investment portfolio to make sure that they are making a certain amount of money, or EBITDA, to bring back to the table so that they can get further investments from the people putting capital into their company so they can acquisition brand new companies like Jagex so that they can grow. So understand that there's a process to this whole thing. It's not as one-sided or as clumsy as it seems, and right now what's overall happening is the community is completely turned. But there's a certain understanding that does need to happen with this whole process, because even the CEO has restrictions onto what's happening because he has to have a financial goal. And what you're going to do is something like this, where you have a very active community in a world where MMORPGs are just completely dying. You want to see how you can monetize. In the world that we live in with, gacha games, all those different things, where everything throughout mobile games and even PC and platform, you're seeing ads, you're seeing certain takeaways, you're seeing mods, you're seeing skins, all these different things that are combining, and I'm sure that the Carlyle Group is actually drooling at the bits, putting a lot of pressure on the Jagex CEO, letting him know that, hey, you need to make us more money, otherwise, like every CEO on the planet, or everybody under a CEO, you're expendable. That's how it works in corporate settings, especially at a large investment group corporate setting. So again, I just want to step back. I want to take some time to address what I personally see. And again, this is my personal opinion. These are things that, based on my overall experience in large corporations, and then owning my own business, and also being a player of this game for so long, I just want to put my 2 cents in, while everybody else is as well, and try to shed a light that's possibly the middle for everybody. And this is my hopes, because I won't lie, I also did my first ever leagues with RuneScape this last couple months, and I thought it was the weirdest thing possible, because as everybody loved leagues, and the game itself actually became far more fun, I immediately thought to myself, why would you show somebody a game that's essentially more fun than the original? And it brought me back to the old days of, '07 RuneScape, and even previous to that. And it's where the game was fun. There was a lot of nuance. There was a lot of things where you could actually achieve and obtain a little bit quicker than traditionally. And this is the problem that I actually had with leagues, because once it's taken away, then you go back to the normal game, and there's a little bit of a win taken out of your sails. You don't have the echo feature. You don't have the amazing clue teleport scroll. You don't have all these different things that they gave you and gave you and gave you. Why do I also bring this up right now during this time? Because as this survey silently went out to a select group of people throughout the community, Jagex just came from giving us a ton in leagues to immediately sending out an email saying, hey, we're going to take away a lot of things completely from the game and monetize them for you to get them back. One of the golden rules to business in general is you don't take away customer experience. You can charge for additional experiences to make the overall experience better, but you never take away a common ground experience that should be ingrained. It's the representation of hospitality. It's the representation that people buy emotions, they don't buy products. And what's happening right now from leagues, you have an emotional response that's fantastic. You know, more people went online during leagues than ever before. And it made the game feel alive. You lose that concept of leagues. You know, your numbers drop off slightly, people will be on for the next couple of weeks, but then outside of that, you're going to see your numbers dwindle. And then you release something like the survey, which everybody's feelings are so high that now you're kind of crushing them. And this was done in such a poor, mistaken fashion that you're seeing the repercussions throughout Reddit, throughout Google, throughout multiple other forums, Quora even. And this is what's overall going on. There should be an understanding from people that companies need to make money, okay? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're raising the prices on membership. I understand that, but the way that you would approach this is saying, due to overall server maintenance and costs and electricity going up throughout the countries that these servers are hosted on, we need to address this to the community and let you know that there will be a percentage price increase over the next certain amount of years so that it's expected. If you're going to monetize other things, or you want to monetize other things, such as an enhanced security, well, you know, the problem that I'm having and everybody else is having is, why is that not just a baseline? Again, this ties back to community, hospitality, and the feeling that you're secure. Ever since the start of this game, when you were able to go into the actual physical MUD client and create God codes, essentially, if anybody remembers or knows Robinhood back in the day, you know, that's exactly what happened. And it took a lot of enhanced security and a lot of issues to create a baseline security. But it's still happening. You still have DDoS pings. You still have different things that happen. You still have hackings. You still have keyloggers. Those will never go away. And when you say enhanced security, it's a facade. It's actually, you know, it's a blanket statement saying, hey, we want you to pay for this level of something that you absolutely don't need. And it's our responsibility to be protecting your accounts anyways, because you're a paid customer. If there's an extra layer of enhanced security that's even out there, why don't we have it? So those are the things that I want to address. I know that people are up in arms, but I think that there needs to be a step back. I think that people in this community need to actually think with a business mind, rather than this emotional mindset that RuneScape is the same thing that the Gower brothers created so long ago. You know, I remember being in IRC channels where Paul would openly come in. I remember where Paul would text me. And I remember when Peter, like Zazima, would text me and we would just talk. But that's because that community was so drastically small that everybody was approachable. And overall, what's going on is, like, it's become a conglomerate, and if people can't see that nor understand it, then it should just be stepped back, and all you have to do is look at the bot community. Why is there so much money being generated off this game through bots? And it's because there's a lot of fail-safes, and it's actually at the fault of the community and at the fault of Jagex. And at the baseline, that is what's stemming these types of things. You know, if a bot community is making millions and millions and millions of dollars every year through players, trying to take a shortcut because it's so incredibly difficult to go from, starting game to mid game to late game. There's an issue. And Jagex will see that and go, wow, if they're making this much, how do I make this much? So there's just multiple different facets, and the community needs to realize that JMods have your back. They're trying to also do their job. They don't want to get fired. But at the same time, they want to be part of community building because they also play the game. So, let's just take a crack and dive into this and look at the presumed, monthly increases and things of that nature. The one thing that I will say that people are actually okay with, which I think is kind of funny, is people are across the board saying that they're okay with the idea of paying a little bit more for 2 accounts. And I think that's kind of a joke. Again, you already have the ability to make multiple accounts. You already have the ability to do that so that you can have another character that can support a main, or you can go into Deadman mode and play that while playing a different main, or go into Iron Man and become a hardcore, without the additional cost. And now all of a sudden, they want to increase this additional cost. So, again, why is this? So, as players progress, they get more and more close to the late game, and you take all these hours to, progress your accounts. The fail is that people get older. And as you get older, your attention span goes it goes down, let's just be honest, because life goes up. And thinking of spending 150 hours to max out my strength from level 1, that doesn't sound fantastic. And you might start another character, another sub-character, so that there's a different aspect of the game that's more enticing to you, and that's already part of the game. The other side of this is another issue could be a server taxation, because if you have a bot farm with 1,000 accounts, that's 1,000 spaces needed on a server. And when you have server bog down, you have potential for security issues, you have potential for downage, you have a lot of potential for issues. So this is a double-edged sword, because on one hand you're talking about increasing price and then saying, hey, we're going to charge you, right here $19.99 per month potentially for, your one character. If you want another one, we're going to charge you another $12.49 per month. Well, at this point, we're pushing about $35, $36 per month. And that's not cheap. Okay? For a lot of us here, $36 a month, I could see a gym membership. You can either power grind some levels, or you can go power grind your health and live a longer, healthier life. It's a level of perspective. And what Jagex is losing with this whole system that I see presented here is perspective. They are doing a cash grab because other people are grabbing cash from the game. Servers are taxed. But at the same time, the player base went drastically higher in leagues. And because there was a resurgence, and Carlyle Group as an investment company probably saw those numbers, and they're saying, wow, look at all these people online. Well, are they all paying for all these multiple characters that they just started? Because we're seeing it all over YouTube where, maybe one's a melee, maybe one came out in range, maybe one tested out mage. Well, that's 3 different accounts right there. Why are we not capitalizing on this? Because our gameplay is now through the roof compared to other MMOs. So that's the double-edged sword that I see with this whole thing here. And then you see the bot farm, just overall increasing in taxing servers and things of that nature. This is a continuous circle. So overall, my personal opinion is if Jagex and the Carlyle Group were actually smart, which they are, what they would do is they would actually keep their baseline at $10.99 a month. And why is that? And the reason is because once you go to 12, 19 especially, your game loses oomph. Remember, a lot of things happen in life when you get a little bit older. I went from starting the game out when I was in high school to now having kids, having a business, doing this on my off time and things of that nature, playing, my original account that I had, it's stuck on RS3, which that game sucks. I will never go back to it. So I have a maxed out account just sitting there doing nothing. Whereas I have another account on old school that, it's progressively fun to play, but I can't play it as much. And the thought of me paying potentially $12 or $19 a month for something like that, where I have priorities as a family man and business owner and just a man in life in general, building my way through the overall economic hard times that are right now, this doesn't make sense. Jagex should be building a volume model. RuneScape is one of the oldest living MMOs that's still thriving. Why would you attack the community to affect your gross overall volume sales? That is a stupid play. Where could you monetize otherwise? And again, as a community, you have to understand, if you want Jagex to be around for a long time, they must monetize. It costs a lot of money to run servers. It costs a lot of money to have staff. You're talking people that are working for Jagex right now that are anywhere from probably 50,000 euros per year all the way up to probably CEOs probably a minimum 250. So you need to understand that even though you might not think that's your problem, it is your problem. And it's because those changes and what the community wants for enhanced community experience, or talking more to the Jagex team and a faster reply time, that takes people. People equal money. If you want more people, you want more support and things like that. Something has to be included. I don't believe personally that the best idea would be raising this from $10.99 anywhere. There's other areas for monetization. I actually spoke to someone that I played with when I first started the game, and she's been around this whole time as well. And I brought up the other day, man, I would pay to have my 20-year cape from RuneScape 3 on old school RuneScape. And she said, well, she just started telling me how that was such a funny thing. It'll never happen. But in my head, again, as a business person, I'm speaking out loud and saying, well, if they kept this at $10.99 a month, which is already a giant increase from when I started at $5 a month, and even more so in the beta of this whole thing, it was free. The biggest thing is like, I see this as where it's a takeaway where someone that's like me and has that 20-year cape, I would pay for it because it's a feeling of nostalgia. Like I mentioned previously, people buy feelings. They don't buy products, y'all. You feel like this community is awesome because it is. You go on Twitch, go check out some of the channels. From Tasty to Blue Owl to all those guys that are just making things so much better for the overall community. And then you come out here and instantly turn those people on you. It doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't, from a business and financial aspect to just customer loyalty. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. None of these options right here make any sense. And I understand that this is something that was just thrown out there. It was speculative, but at the same time, throwing it out there and expecting it not to leak is also kind of a stupid mistake. Somebody was not doing due diligence. This should have been housed. There should have been NDAs signed so that this could not spread. And what they did is they dropped the ball as a company, and now they're going to fight the repercussions, as many, many people on Reddit, as I'm sure you have all seen as a community, are dropping membership like crazy. So now you have an issue where the gross volume of people playing the game is going to go down. When that happens, those servers and those people working at Jagex still have to get paid. You are now more likely to see prices increase because the player base is going down. So if I was the CEO of Jagex, and I write this makeshift apology, which, again, from a perspective of what my company does with a lot of public relations, a lot of media pitching, a lot of media training, and things of that nature. Um, this was poorly written. This was a blunder. And if this was written by the CEO, that's even more of a blunder. You dodged a lot of things and offset a lot of things, which, if y'all don't know, that is normal in crisis PR. Um, but again, you're talking to a community of gamers. This is not a community of political advocates for one side or another. This is a community of people playing a game because they love playing the game. There's an emotional connection to their characters and the community that is within. And as life progresses, there is less time to play the game, so the emotional investment when they turn it on is even higher, because we, to an extent, are escaping an aspect of life to spend time to play this game. And this response in the survey and the update from Mod Pips, this was a blunder. Why this survey was conducted, okay, whatever. It is what it is. But the mention of in-game ads, AFK timers being extended, so a pay-to-play option to have more training ability, and it kind of leaking even more information that was originally leaked was absolutely idiotic. If you are free to play and there's in-game ads, it should be on an outside browser setup. And I will say this, pre-Runelight, there was other options that had something similar, like a Jagex launcher, but instead of the games having in-game ads, they actually surrounded the two sides of the launcher itself so that the ads were not obtrusive, but they still made money. And that, if that was the case, then that should be hyper explained, because that's a lot more workable, and it's able to conduct money because the company that would run something called native ads, or they would be able to connect to Google AdSense, or they would be able to have sponsored ad space, and those would generate a decent amount of money. But at the same time, you say in-game ads, we're thinking overlay, and that's a problem. That's not fair to anybody. That's actually ridiculous. You can't have an overlay ad in an MMO and be successful. The thing that they've overall said that they've learned is reinforcement of the commitment of values to drive our games and guide our decisions in the future we make. No, that's a hearsay comment. This is a cover my tail comment. From the aspect of PR, they have to say this to generally cover their tail, because now they also have to report this to their investing owners and the board of directors that are on the Carlyle group that own this company. And what they're doing is they're trying to offset blame, because Carlyle doesn't want to have any blame or repercussion from these accounts coming from Jagex's blunder. So this is handled in a way that's this is just a BS affirming statement. So let's just call it what it is. Ads and membership. They originally tested this out, exploring ads and free to pay as a concept in the future. No plans for this currently. Well, the future could be tomorrow. It's one of those things where it's like, again, the ad aspect, I can understand this if it's done in a way that's not obtrusive. That is fine in my personal opinion. But again, you have to word it in such a way that it becomes fine. You have to word it in such a way that your community can understand and rally behind you, because we overall want this game to do good and do well throughout the future. If you need to pay more for your staff and your servers, fine. If it requires ads, fine. But do not make them intrusive, because if you take away, once again, from the overall gaming experience, then we have a problem. And that's what these guys seem to fail to understand in the way that these things are written. And this should not be their first rodeo. And that's the more disappointing thing, is this shouldn't be their first rodeo. Anybody that's had even minor PR or crisis PR training should know better than this. This should be a big slap on the wrist. Things like AFK timers, this is a ridiculous option. You are now adding gacha game aspects to do pay-to-win style gaming. That will drop the community base with just this single thing here. Once you start that, you don't stop it. there will be many, many other things that are pay to win. And looking at this, exclusive worlds and pay to win concerns, um, that's what I'm talking about right here. They're going to divert it off, but at the same time, this is what pay to win is. Why would you put this right here and immediately go to pay to win concerns? No. Again, this is just a overall giant blunder, and it's, I don't know, from a business owner perspective to another business owner, Jagex, I'm sorry, you done screwed this one up. I don't know how else to put that. Game clients and plugins. So, the Jagex is notoriously behind the trends and behind the curve. There was a reason that RuneLite was so popular, and even launchers previous to RuneLite that were so popular. The reason is because it offered something that was a pain point solution to the gaming community that was at hand that Jagex did not themselves provide. Could they have provided it? Yes. And what did they do instead? Well, originally they started banning accounts pretty quickly and swiftly for using the same exact tools that we're allowed to use on RuneLite's plugins today. And Jagex has a tendency as a company, and I know that people say that this is post Andrew Paul Gower era, but they did it in that time as well. And what they're doing is they're essentially running scared. Oh my god, people are cheating. Oh my god, people are cheating. Well, you're addressing the wrong things here, because if you attack RuneLite, you're going to lose a vast amount of players. If you take away those plugins, people will not play your game. Again, you have such a problem with your leveling structure based on a Korean-style game methodology where it takes thousands of hours to max out. Basically, you're in it for the long run, that it doesn't make sense to take away a ease of life plugin and penalize people. Because once you start doing that, you have taken away a major quality of life in your MMO, where people are sacrificing time to level up to have a plugin that will help them solve a quest. And there needs to be a rational explanation of this. There needs to be an understanding that RuneLite is actually making RuneScape better. The Jagex launcher is not good without RuneLite style plugins. Could Jagex have done this themselves before RuneLite got big? Yes. They let their egos get in the way. Player support. So when you have a player base of millions of players, player support becomes extremely hard. Honestly, what should happen is there should be an automated feature that leads into an actual community system. With ChatGPT 01, Gemini 2.0, all these different things that have enhanced chat features, the ability, and let me put it this way, because my company uses this all the time. ChatGPT, the 0.1 version, where you can add tasks and things of that nature, you can actually have it scan your entire website, and it will memorize it, so that it can answer basic fact questions. And having the ability to do that, where you can at least guide somebody in the correct way, but they're getting an instantaneous response where they feel like they're being helped, that is hyper important. Because if it gets to the point where the player is not being responded to, and then it takes 72 hours or longer to get responded to, your players are going to drop off. That's like my original account. I got banned 7 times because my name was Big Knockers in game. And I just thought that was the funniest thing ever, because I look at all the other names and I'm like, really, this is why? And it got to the point where I actually got a letter from, a JMod that I knew, said it publicly on my thing, said, you will never get banned again, period. And the reason is because I made a big stink in the community. The reason I'm bringing this up is because if the player support was better, this would have never been an issue. It took me 6 months to get that letter. When my account got hacked and I had all of the proper documentation, the financial records, all those things, it took 3 years to get my account back. And this is a problem. And across the board, player support's a problem. It does not take a lot of money as a company to invest into community management or a community growth management core system that would make the game better, which will draw in more people because now you're going to have a tangible word of mouth marketing platform from the actual player base. Right now, people are going to be like, "Oh crap! If something's wrong with my account, I'm screwed. There's nothing I'm going to do about it. You might as well go do something else." This is part of the issue. Um, and this is the other thing here. I don't like that this is a thing. Why would you say we will never degrade or change the gameplay experience on offer between subscribers? Um, Everything you just mentioned above is changing the gameplay experience. That was a very foolishly written statement. Um, there is a management training thing that is called Speak, Listen, Speak. You say something, you listen to the reverberation of the community or people you're talking to so that you can address it in a proper way, but you don't reiterate or give opening to then essentially get your butt kicked by the person's comment. Because if you're the owner of the company, then you're the owner of the company. You can make changes because, again, you're the owner of the company. But you also need to listen to the people that you're addressing with these changes. If it's too drastic and they address it back, you need to adjust on the fly, but then you don't throw something back in their face saying, "Oh, well, we're never going to change the gameplay experience," when everything that you just did in this survey 100% changes the gameplay experience, especially between subscribers. And honestly, this shouldn't matter if you're a subscriber or free to play. It should say, we will strive to do our best to not change the overall gameplay experience for any player of RuneScape and the community of our followers. We want to build trust and we want to build a better solution for the people in this platform so that we can continue to grow throughout the years. So that leads into what's next and then the final note here. Okay. The intention of the survey, big companies do this all the time. This is how, for example, if you have a sitcom TV show or a movie or whatnot, they take a small snippet of people, they survey them, okay? They're not going to like 100% of stuff. Some of it's going to be completely whack job, some of it's going to make a little bit of sense, and then some of it's going to make great sense. That's exactly what this is. This is a small snippet comparison group. But again, this overall was so botched that it's embarrassing for Jagex. This should also be embarrassing for the Carlisle group as well, in case any of them are listening. Because now you have a massive community of people, which I do love and think it's hilarious when they all take to, the streets of Falador and, they all protest there. That's kind of funny because to me, that's a fantastic show of community and all these different things, but you're still paying for membership. So you can protest all your heart desires. All the top investors and CEOs see our cool people are logging in. They're still paying us. I'm a firm believer that if you really truly want to make a stance on something, stop paying. Okay? You don't need to be paying $10.99 for membership. You can go $10.99 can go find you a really cheap gym potentially somewhere in your city. Go work out. You're going to feel better in life. You'll probably do a lot more. But that is how finite it is, playing this game versus playing the game of life. And overall, Jagex is messing with the middle ground here. People escape life to go play this game because it creates an emotional feeling that's good. It's not stressful. Now you're adding stress into a virtual life that they already get in real life, which takes away from the overall value of playing RuneScape and makes you less likely to escape the reality that we all live in on the daily life that's stressful, it's hard, but we just get through it. You grind life like you grind the game. And my overall consensus is that everybody that is losing their minds on this throughout the community, you need to stop. If you are overreacting, understand that there's a business mind to this, there's a community mind, and then there is Jagex, who is actually right in the middle. because Jagex has to listen from the people up top, and they're essentially the puppets of the investment group and the board of directors there. Then they also have to listen to the people that are playing the game at the bottom of the funnel that are spitting out tons of things constantly. Overall, this is my takeaway. If I was the Jagex CEO, the way that I would very simply fix this solution is I would have made an apology that's direct and to the point. No fluff, no BS, because that's what the community wants. And then from there, I would let them know directly that there may be changes in the future that may adapt to the ability for us to grow as Jagex the community so that we can have better, more enhanced servers that are aligned with the technology that will make this game great. And at the same time, allow us to add more features into the game, as in new bosses, new areas, new potential employees to enhance the overall customer service aspect that you all have requested for so many years. We listen to you. With this, there may be opportunities for us that we may need to address that have added cost and or the ability for us to run non-obtrusive ads that will not take away from your overall game experience, but can compensate the company enough for us to add these new features for you and keep the price of the game low so that we don't damage your overall experience. That's what I would have done if I was the CEO of this company. And then from there, I would have created deployments throughout my team, immediately taking to community first. How do we address these things? Immediately go into the community. Don't make a stupid, mod pips throw you under the bus video. That's admitting defeat. You just admitted a disaster. What I would have done is I would have gone to the community, brought in some of the biggest community people on YouTube or Twitch, and explained it and had them rally behind you to then enhance and influence the community, because that's what they are. They're influencers. And that's how I would have approached this. And then I would have immediately deployed a timeline that would be reasonable so that if it was to come to a paid ad structure, they would know. And it would not be a surprise. If there was to be some form of add-on additional fee, which, again, I know RuneScape 3 has a lot of those, but there's also not a lot of people playing RuneScape 3. There could be core features. Again, if they took anything from leagues, why would you not develop a system where some of those key points of leagues could be then developed in to the main game itself? Are you telling me that people that played leagues would not pay for those options as a buy-on? That's insane. The ability for the clue teleport, that is worth its weight in gold. The echo hit system, echo bosses, enhanced bosses. There's so many things that you could add to the game over time that could be potentially monetized, where it's saying, hey, instead of $10.99 a month, if we do this for $12 a month, $11.99, $1.99, like $1 extra, we will do enhanced bossing similar to leagues, where yes, that's a little bit pay to win, but those bosses are substantially more difficult. So it takes substantially more skill, which is going to appeal to mid to end game players a little bit more so. For $1 extra, that doesn't hurt people as much financially. So therefore, there's more likelihood to do that. And if your player base is around 3 to 5 million, and you get a fraction of them to sign on, say you get 1 million to sign on to that, well, that's $1 million extra per month. And from there, it allows you to visually see the experience change and visually see what the overall impact is to the player database. Is it going up or is it going down because of an increase of $1? And then you can slowly insert non-obtrusive paid ads into a launcher, which could then generate another certain set of finances. And now you're growing your business EBITDA, or overall amount of money that you make per year, while not degrading the community, because as you do these things that are paid, the community is going to expect something in return. That's where I would develop a system personally that would reflect on the overall gaming community aspect to talk to a Jagex representative much faster. Because we're going to introduce these things into the system that may have some pay to play options and or pay to add system options, what we're going to do in return, we've decided that we're going to speed rush our community management system so that you can now have better access to us, because this is something that has been going on for the years throughout RuneScape, and it's our responsibility as owners at Jagex to make sure that we take care of you. The way that we're going to start this is we're going to start an automated system within the community so that you'll have a response instantly that could eventually lead into speaking to a real person. From there, we want to make sure that we're enhancing the community aspects of the game by offering streamers, influencers, and things like that incentive to play. If you are a streamer, I would make a streamer bond. Unique to streamers that could be issued to streamers once every 3 months or once a quarter, that gives them 1 free month of membership along with 2 other bonds or up to 5 that they can give out as a contest to their community so that we can continue to enhance the game while building our structured community. You are giving back something to the people that play the game. You're giving back something to your customers while still making more money. As an investment, that's how you do it. As an owner, that's how you do it. You know, if you are sitting back and taking, well, then you are a poor owner, you're a poor investment company, and you will basically drop this game into the ground. And then that $513 million investment that you made into this game to buy it, well, that game subscriber amount is going to go drastically down, and then you'll probably end up selling or, you know, liquidating the game to another company at a fraction of the cost. And that's stupidity. So those are my 2 cents. I hope that if you're listening to this, you know, I would love to know your feedback. I would love to know your comments. Please comment down below. If you would like to follow and subscribe me, I'd appreciate that as well. I just wanted to address the community on this because, again, I have a unique perspective just based on my overall experience in life and being an owner of a business, but also really enjoying this game since beta. You know, it kills me inside to see this because, you know, I still talk to friends like Blue Rose 13X who used to play with me, and Alchemon and Songflower and all these other people that were so big in the game. And that's where we need to align. So I hope that you all get the chance to follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. Good or bad, I'm here to listen. I can't wait for your feedback. All right, thanks everybody.